Ho there, YouTube muscly folks. Today, I feel like all my injuries I've been struggling with are gone. I didn't feel anything happening to anything today. Where I'm at in my training is I've got this sort of like hobbled together workout that I've been doing to avoid tweaks. And I'm doing it for the rest of this week. Then I'm taking a recovery week, and then I'm going to jump back on Windler 531 the following week. So then that's when I'm expecting to be full strength. Here I am with the 115s, which for me is pretty tough. I got 4 reps, or I think normally I could have gotten 5 before my rotator cuff injuries started plaguing me. But feels pretty good to get 4. Today I was able to kind of pump out reps and everything, a lot more reps with my shoulders without really ever feeling like I was at risk of hurting anything. So I'm just feeling really healthy and strong right now. And I'm excited about getting to go up in weight here in 2 weeks and start doing Windler 531. I played some basketball with other human beings today, and even then I was able to like explode and move quickly and absorb contact. I never really felt like I was at any kind of risk of hurting in any of those. None of my shoulders, on my elbow, and whatever it was that was going on down in my glute mid. All those things seem to be not a problem now. So that is a radically good upgrade. In the meanwhile, what I've been doing just as my recovery program is I've just been doing basically some form of a press, either bench or dumbbell bench, Monday and Friday for 5 sets of however much, and just sort of ramping around weights and seeing what feels comfortable, or not comfortable, but what feels like it isn't going to threaten those rotator cuff musculature or my elbow, make it feel bad at all. I just went ahead with doing the just whatever felt good, but going as heavy as I can each day, and then doing 3 days per week on this program, right? Then I would do some sort of a pulling movement, 5 sets of however much weight, however much reps, just whatever. Didn't feel like it was going to break anything. Now this exercise I specifically picked because I didn't want to aggravate my elbow tendon. I have to kind of like pick weird grips, and if I pick the right grip, it won't. My elbow tendon, of course, is just tweaked out from work. I just have kind of a I have to non-stop pick up 45-pound plates at work when I'm training clients. So that kind of sometimes makes my right elbow a little tore up. But I've been wearing a strap at work. I'll probably do that forever because on a certain level I don't want to completely imbalance myself, and I can't always evenly pick up the plates. Sometimes like I really need to be able to wield it in a way where my left hand just isn't good enough for that. If I'm about to bring it up high or something like that. But so this particular grip was not giving me any pain. Now, I played basketball too, and I didn't feel any pain in my elbow, and that's unusual. So it may be possible that my elbow tendonitis is clearing up. If so, that would be crazy. I wasn't expecting it to clear up maybe for months or a year or something. I was expecting to have to really struggle with that one for a long time. So if it is clearing up, I'm sure it's probably the one that's most at risk of like coming back quickly if I don't keep the modification going long enough for it to kind of catch up. But yeah, overall, it's been a significant difficulty dealing with that elbow, and if that's about to be over with, that could really affect a lot. Like, might allow me to do a deadlift max. I could probably do, some of those things get a little edgy in how much, like to max out on the deadlift with this elbow tendonitis. To try for me would be like try 370 or something. How many days does that cost me of my elbow just aching and not being able to really do rows and stuff? And like, what does that do to my lack of muscle development over time? I'm not going to get that much off just doing that one rep. So, maxing out is questionable how often you should do that in general. Especially as you get stronger relative to your 1 rep max, or not 1 rep max, but body weight. But yeah, it's particularly questionable in its value. Thinking of it in terms of like, you really get more out of the workload that you do lifting weights than you do the fact that you're capable of and have proved you can pick up a certain amount of weight. Like, although that does help you figure out where the absolute total strength of yourself on a good day relative to your neuromechanical, the fact that you've actually done it, it does help you benchmark how strong you are. But you can also use calculations like I got 10 reps of this, so I put it in one of those calculators, and if I was really good at doing 1 rep maxes, that means I'd be able to do this for a 1 rep max on that same day. That's kind of reasonable to give yourself, if you're not a power lifter going for a whatever, you can at least kind of reasonably determine your Wilks score, even if you don't actually do 1 rep maxes. Because it's hard to really do a Wilks score, because if you do a 1 rep max on all of your lifts recently, is going to bias you to being bad at everything, because you're fundamentally jacked up from those 1 rep maxes itself. Like, that's why it's kind of, that's one thing powerlifters have to train, and periodize and kind of like back off and have a period of undertraining, so that they'll be ready when it's time for a meet to do 3 max outs probably in the same day. Of course, I think the meets are usually very long. They spread them out, and you can eat maybe in between, and that probably makes it doable. But that generally speaking, it's the recovery cost on somebody, especially not on steroids, who's going out and doing a max. That's going to be really extreme, and you don't want to do that frivolously just for the hell of it all the time. You want to really have a point to it when you do it, or it's just been a long time. I mean, sometimes it is nice for your strength development to handle a lot of weight, and if you're a noob, you really want to lift a lot of weight, because there's pretty much, your 1 rep max is going to change every week for a year and a half, 2 years. But there does come a point where instead of getting overzealous trying to do all these 1 rep maxes, it's probably smarter to pick up a relatively heavy weight and do a lot of reps with it to actually build the muscle to justify heavier weights. Like, comment, and subscribe. I sure do appreciate it.